Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Commentary is Magic stream on today's Sunday, March 16th, 2025. I am, as always, stealing our cat and Ivory's bit.
No,
Really?
I refuse. Big cheese.
Wait, what?
My bit was stolen.
I'm
This
so
is-
lost now, so
this
I'm
is-
gonna say I'm lost.
This is illegal. I'm the one who steals. Stealing from me is illegal. Me stealing from other people is
I
not
have
illegal.
never done that once. I'm the one that's supposed to go first. I never get to do that. That was fun. I'm Grandpa's. And you know who the rest of us are. The rest of us are, well, we're wrong sometimes.
Sometimes.
This
What? How could that be?
Thump, 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 thump.
Wrong!
Correct.
I'm gonna blame peer pressure. I'm gonna say that every time I've been wrong here, it's been because
It's 'cause
of
you
the
edited
company
it?
I keep.
We told you were wrong, and you're like, fine, I'll change my vote. But if we actually go look at your original votes, they were all correct. Or not votes, but ratings.
We do have edit history. We could go do this.
We could do that, but that is way too much effort for this type of a stream.
Actually.
I will just quote the god awful dub of Fate Stay Night UBW and say just because you're right doesn't mean you're correct.
What?
Okay.
What?
So what are we talking about this week? We're obviously wrong, but
how are we wrong? And how badly have we been wrong? And for how long have we been wrong? The answer is
yes, and forever.
Correct. So we're going to take a trip through time here. Because way back in 2018, we started a tradition that we have kept going to this day at the detriment of our sleep schedules and probably many of yours as well. Which is
An accurate statement.
the always looked forward to /
Dreaded.
Dreaded Slogfest. Where we will review all of the cards from an upcoming product release, and we will give ratings for these cards after discussing the mains for 30 minutes apiece, and then realizing that we still have 7 hours to go on the other 155 cards in the set.
You can't just at us like that. That's not.
I am allowed to do this as I am adding myself. Tell me I'm wrong, and I'll take it back. I am wrong. I'm not wrong about that.
And yet somehow in those 30 minutes we discuss the mains, we're still wrong about the mains sometimes.
Yeah, that happened. And although the scale has changed somewhat for what we're looking at when it comes to these cards, the overall goal is still the same. Are these cards going to be anything special? Are they going to see play? Are they going to be impactful? Are they going to be a mainstay of the metagame for the until next set releases? Or are
until
they
they
going to
rotate out.
Right, or are they simply going to be forgotten?
Yeah.
And despite the fact that we have done this for now 5 full sets plus numerous supplements, we've never gone back to check our work. And that certainly makes me feel better because I never liked when I had to check my own math homework, so I'm just going to assign myself a 100 and call it a day and move on.
Sounds good.
Accurate.
Flawless.
I thought we were supposed to be wrong, though.
We are wrong, sadly, because someone else checked my work, which is all of you. And I checked yours. And we're all going to sit here and check ourselves to determine just how hard we have wrecked ourselves.
Okay.
As many of these ratings are, well, maybe not necessarily reflective of how these cards performed.
Okay, so the usual Slogfest thing is we have to bring this up because, one, we are reviewing this with the advantage of having seen how these cards behave, and we are considering them in effectively the current metas, right? And we've also, in the meanwhile, switched our rating system. So, again, when we look at these, remember, we are looking at how good are these cards in the decks that they're supposed to be run in, and how good are the decks that they're supposed to be run in the global meta. So there's some stuff that, let's say, especially back in the day, had a deck that it went in, and it definitely went in that deck. But that deck just didn't.
It never did.
And then there are the opposites. Cards that we all slept on. That we had written off as, you know what, there's just a better option in this meta, and there's not enough support for this, or why would I ever choose to play this card? And then a set comes out.
This card seems
set
bad.
Comes out, and another set comes out. And a few years later, we look back and go,
why did we print this card? Who let us print this?
right. Now, if I remember, the very first set that we did a full and proper Slogfest for, with the full sim group plus guests, was Sequestria and Beyond. Is that correct?
So I think we did this for Defenders, but I think that might have been before we were writing everything down. So,
yeah, there's a few of these that happen that just have fun going through the video.
That's assuming that we even bothered
that we
capturing the video, yes, because I know there's at least one of them that we lost. Thanks,
Oops.
Twitch.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, wanna check our work and see how bad we whiffed here?
No, but it's probably required by this point in time. Do we have any position of authority to speak on here, or are we all a bunch of doofuses that people need to call out every time we give any card a rating?
Well, for Sequestria, I wasn't involved in the rating, so I get to call you guys out on Sequestria.
Well, you can call us out on this first one then, because I think this one's pretty unforgivable.
Yeah, this one's real tough to justify in hindsight.
Oh, the very first card?
Yeah.
Yeah, this one, I still do not understand the arguments made.
Okay. So, popping open the spreadsheet for this little bad girl here. GP 0, Bugle. Sorry, GP 2, Bugle. Wait, am I at the top here? Yes, okay.
Yeah, you're at the top.
GP gives it a 2, Bugle gives her a 0.
Actively harmful to run in your deck.
Cheese gives her a 2. I give her a 1. Leo gives her a 2. This is an average of 1.4. As in,
I think I remember Bugle's reasoning.
why is this card even, like, printed? Like, this is a main. This is taking up valuable slots. There are only like 6 of them. Why do you do this thing?
So, if I remember Bugle's reasoning right, I think it was around you having 2 points and doing it once, because, of course, you're only going to do this once, just means that you're giving your opponent more AT.
I can understand that, because if you were activating this on turn 1, then you were going to be at 2 points and no action tokens, and your opponent would be at 3 points on their first turn, and we hadn't changed the start of game rules yet.
3 tokens.
And it turns out that third action token is very, very valuable.
Yeah. Because if you, under the current rules, if you just flip her blindly turn 1, your opponent gets 4 tokens out of the gate, and that sounds like a bad time. So, you know what? Sure. Maybe just don't flip her out of the gate? But yeah.
Go ahead.
The problem here is that with the benefit of hindsight, and yes, this was potentially core even, because there was a question about what does Are we still doing Harmony? Are we doing a block rotation? What's going on here? But this, like, Milk keeps better than this did.
Yeah, apparently no one except for Sokol remembered that Cerberus was still legal, and yeah, that made this card a lot better with Tempest.
And see, that's the bizarre thing, is we all gave the Tempest Troublemaker 3s or 4s. It wasn't like we didn't see the value in being able to turn your main back over again. For whatever reason, this just didn't click.
I mean, turning the trader back to Thorax back to his start side, and a lot of the mains at the time, confront, flip, and stuff, was pretty impactful.
Sure.
Right. Remember,
why would you flip yourself to your
it impacts all mains equally.
And maybe
never forget
the Biff ruling. My God.
It's just that it impacts Seleno equally, but she is sitting there just being like, I'm actually okay with this.
Right? Maybe it was a pre-rotation thing when we were still dealing in Harmony, when why would you run this for Blue Farm when you could run Ambassador of Loyalty? Or why would you run this for Blue Aggro when you can run Bluna? Yeah, exactly, right? And all of those are probably pretty valid concerns, but surely we would have seen something coming at some point.
Nope, apparently not.
I mean, she is a pirate. That's kind of her job, to blindside you and then take your stuff.
The last thing I would say on this card is that the person who gave this the lowest score out of any of us is currently running this main in one of their decks for the Invitationals tournament right now.
So much for always favoring Bluna.
It's not even us that was...
It's not even us. Sorry, Beagle, you're going right under the bus here. Because we can't do that to you for any of the other ones. The rest are just our fault. So.
Seleno's just telling you to walk the plank here.
Yeah.
But don't worry, there's more from Sequestria that...
Did we shot wrong?
Really? Okay. So that wasn't egregious? Okay, try this on for size.
This card was universally accepted as bad for how many years?
It was bad until it wasn't.
I mean, that is kind of the problem, right? It was bad until it wasn't. But if Leo was still here, he gave this a 1.5. He was the one that was saying we were all sleeping on this card.
Figured it out later.
And he did. I guess he figured it out before the rest of us.
If I recall correctly, at the time, friends were a liability. Like, they just insta-died all the time in the decks that were popular back then.
Yeah, this was the era of Berry Flop, wasn't it?
Yeah, and so you're like, how am I going to have that many unicorns? And what event would I possibly want to copy?
Because events still were not that cheap, at least not the purple ones.
Right. 6 sets later, though.
Or the cheap event, like, it really wasn't until we had Lunch Break that there was something that is like, oh, copying this wins me the game.
So stupidly impactful that I'm willing to sit here and deal with this fragile friend that is just a liability in all other possible circumstances, but there's this bad taste and there's this other, like, okay taste, and together they taste so good that things have to get removed from the meta.
It's worth noting that Lunch Break may have been the reason why this card was banned, but it was seeing play in the purple-white version of that deck before it splashed for blue, just to be able to copy Tranquilities, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And this one was not necessarily quite as egregious as Selene. Most of our scores were 2s. There were some 1.5s. I'm trying to get back to the spreadsheet here to find it. There it is. 2, 2, 3, 1.5, 1.5 for an average of 2. Okay. Well, the card's banned, so
it was a 6.
It was a 6. it took a while to get there.
This was a 2 at the time. It's just
Yeah,
Then-
we're gonna have quite a few of these where it's like,
then we printed a thing and we're just like, oops.
Never
How
never
much
sleep on the
prediction-
bad cards when you're testing is the lesson we probably should have learned there.
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we called this out as combo bait, and it just didn't catch anything until.
At some point, this
Later.
card is going to cause a problem. It's just not going to cause a problem yet.
I mean, people had already been looking at, hey, what can I do with this card and read the manual, for example, right, to gain a bunch of action tokens. But that was requiring 4 unicorns, and you didn't have that to spare.
Right.
So I think you're right, Cheese. I think there was a lot of, dice to removal argument.
Berry flop. That's fair.
But everything
how about-
dies to remove. Anyway,
How about one in the opposite direction here?
This could have been Songbird.
it could have.
And Songbird would have been on this slideshow instead of Spike.
Boo, Spike. Anyway, yeah, so I assume we rated this one high?
We did.
Yes.
Because, like, playing every effect on a song, or multiple effects on a song, is pretty impactful. Wouldn't
For
you
what-
say?
For what it's worth, among the ultra rares in this set, with the exception of Princess Luna Midnight and Staff of Sikonis, this card had the highest average rating.
Did we not have a deck that played this?
Actually, that's actually not true, but we have that card also on our list.
Didn't Moonlight Sonata run this card?
It did.
But then that deck didn't really...
That was the only deck
Yeah.
that ran this card.
Yeah, and that deck was good for like a month, and then people figured out how to play the rest of the
then-
cards in the set.
Also, Control just ran away at that point and left Moonlight Sonata behind.
I mean, Moonlight Sonata was a control deck. If for those of you who have gotten tired of playing against Mill in Adventure, first off, I'm sorry. Second off, not really. And third, you should have played against this one because there was no win condition for the Mill. It was just disrespect.
This was like we could get rid of your deck, hand, and board, and then sit there and confront once per turn while you did nothing.
Yep.
This
Yeah.
isn't about it winning. This is about you losing.
Yes. It
Turns
was.
out-
What was the main? Was it Twilight?
no, it was Tempest.
Was Tempest?
You were running Tempest because you also had the Grubber combo in there because you
Yeah.
could rely on I'm the Friend You Need to search up troublemakers as well.
Yeah.
And like you said, it did stuff for a month. In fact, it did stuff for several months in testing, and many of us were very concerned about it. And then people grew brains, and then we just don't talk about this again
It was too
for
slow.
several sets. Yeah.
I think I remember the deck also had very few immediates compared to
I
the
think it had
favored control
zero.
decks at the time.
Had
Maybe
zero
it
immediates.
It may have run Bailout, but that would have been it. Because this thing was a hybrid of just some of the weirdest, like, this was kind of a prototypical version of 3 different decks that you will see now that all can hold their own in Adventure or Core. It had Reanimator aspects going on because Spike and Luna were both big enough that you wanted to cheat them into play. So you were discarding them through various effects and bringing them back with redeeming qualities or Orchard Blossom. It had purple-orange control going on between, I don't know if Coriander Cumin was being run quite yet, but the Tempest and Grubber, the Bailout, Exhaustion effects, Princess Luna Midnight, those were all in there for sure, and you had AT generators with Factory Jack. And I don't think there were any portal effects yet. And then you had song-based Mill based entirely on Spike here, and using I'm the Friend You Need, Heartstrong as Horses, Spectacle, and cycling these cards. And as we so often say when we have done deck techs for people, pick a lane. This one didn't. This one chose the whole side of the freeway.
As Spike probably would.
And as a consequence, it ran into every car that was there and caused a massive traffic jam, and then it didn't go anywhere, ever. That card was an average rating of 4.65.
Stuff
That
got
is-
better, and
That
this is also the set that I sat there and I gave Main Six Party Planners a 2.5 because I'm just like, look, I'm drawing the line between 0 and 6 or something, because it's one of these. I don't know which.
True.
Turns out that one was a 6. Oops.
Should we look at a middling one?
Oh, we're not done with Sequestria. No. What even does this?
Sequestria.
What even does this one do?
Nothing.
No one remembers this one.
I'm so glad Beagle's not here. He would be so mad right now.
For including this?
No, for Aura saying, what even does this card do?
It gets big. And it draws cards.
Let me ask you this.
Well, our ratings sure wasn't big. What did this thing average? 2.2? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like the pink pipsqueak that is currently in core with Eager? Do you like drawing an extra card every turn?
Yes.
I don't like having to go into these two colors to do it.
No, but remember, this was the meta where Trading Traditions was there. This
Yeah.
also happened to be the meta where one set later, we got Raku's Shovel, and this set, the same set this came out in, we got Pirate Ship. 1 AT, move one of your characters, make it bigger, and draw a card. That's effectively a free move and power boost on a character because you'd pay one to draw during your main phase anyway.
Yeah, but it's pink. It's orange pink. Like that wasn't like a favored color back then.
It wasn't. You're right.
It's been a favored color on and off throughout the game's history.
You had Buy Some Apples back in Crystal Games, right?
You
And a
did,
few
and then
other-
it went away, and like this wasn't in vogue at the time, right?
No. But yeah, that's a lot of value for like if you can move this for cheap, it's like you get the move and you get a power and you get a draw. And it's like a low investment to start. If someone kills it early, it's kind of whatever.
The year this card came out, it was either Eminently Sensible or their brother played this in Continentals and placed
The
Pretty high-
Lyra deck, right? It was
Correct.
first or second.
correct. Placed pretty highly in 2018 when this came out. In like top 8, right? The very next year, a deck built around maximizing value with this card, among a few others like Rockhoof, took the Continental Championship. Card draw is good. Incremental value is good. This is what I think we've learned.
Some
You want to reinforce that with the next card?
Card draw is good.
So,
Shooby
You want to talk about things that were not in vogue? You want to know what was in vogue? Meticulous decks. This somehow did not get rated a 5.
You mean a 6?
I mean, yeah, 6, but
So-
I would have accepted at least a 5.
Yeah, 3.9 for Selena Blue, and I remember like, didn't we do something to her during playtesting that got her buffed somehow?
I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look.
But you look at this now and you're just like, that's a ringer right there.
You could not print this effect anywhere near this effect again and have it be core legal. Even core legal, the smallest possible card pool, you couldn't do it.
Yeah, because I think like if you just look at this naively, it's like, oh, you only get to dig one down. But like there's so many ways to get past that. This gets you through your deck so fast.
And it's eccentric, and it's cheap.
And trading traditions existed, and ambassador friendship was still in the meta.
And this was 100% a preferred color. This deck was around for, what, like 2-3 years?
Burb.
Yeah.
So much fun.
And that's all before the really broken stuff came out, you know? Same day delivery, Chaos Magic Blast, half the other chaos effects that became the mainstay of modern chaos control, right? This thing was doing damage and was gaining so much value long before those pieces were even there.
So, I think this is maybe another one of those cards that you can argue at the time, under the circumstances, yeah, maybe this was okay. Maybe we were being quite mean enough with it, but then we started, like, new cards came in, and then it just hit a critical point. It was just like, hi.
Yeah.
I'm going to make you salty.
I hate to say it, but I'm glad she's gone. Fireworks was a dumb deck.
I was going to put Fireworks in here too, but it's only the one thing that really breaks with it.
Yeah. Oh, but don't worry, we're still not done with Sequestria yet. We still got more.
So, you want to follow that up?
Sure. Please point to the important information on this card.
Event?
When you move a character.
The one,
there you go.
The one in the circle.
Correct. The text that has no bearing on you ever playing this card.
Yeah, the main phase part is totally irrelevant.
Cost, rec, power, doesn't timing phase, none of that matters. Literally none of it. For the exact same reasons that Haven Bay was good, because there were these great supportive engines that allowed you to gain all this value over time. Follow My Lead was able to do the exact same thing with a little card called Apple Bloom.
Apple Bloom.
Buy some apples.
Apple Bapple.
Anything that gets you stuff back from your discard pile for free, like especially that you can put it into your discard pile as a cost, is very valuable.
And it's like there's a card that we printed recently.
Yeah.
That has this exact same thing going on.
But even better, because you don't have to do anything to get it back. You do have to wait, but
I hate waiting.
The waiting is the hardest part.
Well, fortunately, we have a solution for you. It's right here. What did we rate this thing?
Not well.
2.5 flat.
You want to know where? You want to know where that AT value in Pukum came from? It was this engine with Apple Bloom.
Yeah, I'm sure we were all considering what the card says, rather, or like the obvious intent of the card.
The intended use
than...
of this card, not what it can do.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's actually really sad, because looking at this card, it's an excellent top-down design. It just so happens that top-down design threw a little mechanical quirk in there that a few big brain people said, oh, I can break that. It turns out when your deck is built around maximizing your own card advantage and then using that to fuel your momentum, if you can create artificial card advantage, it doesn't matter what those cards are. And nothing did it better than this for many years.
So that's like at least a 4, I think.
I would say so.
Mm-hmm.
Should we finish up Sequestria with one more?
One last little thing.
So this one I put on here because it was rated 5s across the board.
I don't know if it's a 5, but it is pretty good.
I remember why it was a 5. Do you remember,
So-
Ivory?
Selena Blue?
I
Not
wasn't.
Selena Blue, sorry.
I wasn't involved in this
Skystar
one, so
Chicken.
no.
Skystar.
We're gonna
The
play
other
Skystar
fish.
Chicken. Chicken of the sea.
Skystar was one of those reasons.
Confront to flip mains.
And Skystar, most of us recognized as being very, very good. She got a 4.6 rating overall. But there's one other card here in this set that got the same score as Searching High and Low. 5s across the board. And was part of the reason why this card was rated so highly. Because do you remember what the meta looked like when Sequestria came out?
No.
Here's your hint. Every main from Defenders was Confront to Flip.
Are you referring
Yeah.
to Tempest slapping Grubber down?
I am not. I am referring to Gummy.
That's the when you move, you get to put them into play.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gummy was rated a 5 across the board, and it wasn't just for Thorax.
Nurturing Nature is fine with this too, even.
Yeah, it
And
makes
what
all your
was-
confront to flips easy to flip.
Although there was something that happened later that makes it way funnier.
True. But we had a discussion about how many decks that were struggling with Confront to Flip because they couldn't end up getting around like the Tempest and Grubber lock or early Troublemakers, right? Because they needed to wait till turn 2 to have the AT to move their main and to confront. Would be able to use this problem alongside Gummy and confront turn 1 so their main could actually do something. 50% of the time, which was better than what they had. Now, in actuality, how many of those decks actually used Gummy? It was just the yellow stuff.
And
the yellow-blue stuff used it.
That had yellow. I'm counting that.
Alright, fine. It's worth pointing out that yellow-blue counts here.
Sure, yellow X does count.
unfortunately did not make quite as much of a meta impact as would have hoped.
Well, so this one I think we can partially justify with the rating system switch, because this absolutely messed with the larger meta of the game in terms of, okay, I can just assume that I've got a turn to like keep my opponent canned up. Like, they're not going to confront turn 1. And then this drops and it's just like, oh.
Yeah, that's true.
So, if you were running a control deck and you weren't Skystar and you saw this and you got a little sad, because it's just like, all right, I got to come up with something to keep them canned up here, because I've got like maybe 2 turns. Maybe.
This was also the set that the X-Pony entry cycle came out, the 202s, right?
Yeah.
And so we may have also been sitting there thinking, hey, you know what? Even if you are playing Confront to Flip, if you do win that coin toss, turn 1 confront, turn 2 confront and flip.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Or, yeah, you can also just do a loyal pony if you've got a blue main and just be like, wee! But you also had Concerning Cutie Mark, which was safer for you
Mhm.
and less terrible because 0 bonus. If you were Skystar and you saw this opening, you were just like, it
That was the worst.
was great.
But surely Sequestria was the worst of this, and we all wised up and never made any mistakes ever again. The end.
On that note, what did Friends Forever have that was wrong?
Let's find out.
I can tell you I'm waiting for one card in particular here. This is
What
not
did
that
we
card,
read?
but
What did we rate this?
not nearly what she should have been.
What did we rate the?
I believe this was a 2.5.
What? Because she's expensive and because she's not
Oh no,
Factory Jack?
it was slightly higher.
Three?
It was a little over a 3.
I don't think that's wrong. She's probably a 4.
I would defy you to name a purple control deck in the last 5 years that has not immediately started with 3 of these cards.
To be fair, cover to cover was still legal when this card was printed, and we were probably like, "Is this better than cover to cover?"
Yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah.
not.
No, it's good. This is 100% cover to cover's fault because you look at this and you look at cover to cover and you're just like, ah,
If you're in, because when
I
this
said
came
run
out,
both.
wow. A
I
lot
kind
of
of forget what meta we were in, like if we had core or not.
right stuff. We would have
We
had
had core at this point.
This is, and that would have been core 2.0. So yes, cover to cover would have been legal at that point.
Right, because cover to cover was not banned. Cover to cover was banned just before Continentals, right?
That took a while. This this aged well. There's a bunch of stuff at the time that you didn't care about that now is actually kind of a big deal. Like one of them obviously is AT generators leaving the format. The other thing is, and you may look at this and just be like, it doesn't really matter, but no, the fact that you can play this off of one purple rec is kind of a big deal.
It is.
No, that's
I
true.
think we just had so, like, especially in Adventure, or I guess which would have been core at the time, we had. Did we have enough AT gen?
I mean, you had cover to cover.
Cover to cover
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Applejack, who were obviously very good if you were running orange, right?
And like this was still Burb era, and I think Burb was looking at this and just being like, I mean maybe if I
I
need
know-
another AT gen, but
There's definitely multicolor purple control decks these days that run like 2 of these. Just because it's expensive.
I still think 3 is too low for where this is. I think this thing is
Yeah.
definitely above a 3. Also, again, worth pointing out, we did not have the 3 AT going second rule either, right?
Yes.
that also changes things rather drastically.
Yeah, I mean, I
Because-
think it's at least a 4 these days.
Yeah. Because the big thing that we were talking about here was you need 3 full turns of this card living just to reclaim its own value.
Yeah,
And
this-
that's sort of true, except this also happened to be a unicorn, so by the time we started getting Magic Instructor involved, stuff got even weirder, and then, yeah, that...
right. The immediate exhaustion means that you can also get a confront out of her the turn you play her, and then get the token. Oops,
That's
wrong
true.
button.
Right, the face-off chicken egg.
Yeah, and
That's
it's
a good
a
point.
face-off chicken enabler too. That's No, this did not get the rating it deserved. Like there's probably reasons that legitimate ones that we gave it the rating that we did, but man, those ratings didn't age well because the card aged beautifully.
So did this next one. Also, interestingly, an AT value gain card that this was the one that got the 2.5 rating.
Oof.
Did we really? Yeah, we did.
I don't know what to say about
Yeah,
this.
I got nothing here. I'm just gonna claim that I'm too small brained to run the deck that abused this.
It pays for itself to confront.
I mean, the only justification I've got for this one is that blue-purple wasn't a favored color at the time.
But it had read the manual.
It did, but you splashed for that. You didn't want to run that.
I think this was the set where purple, blue, white control deck started at really doing work.
Didn't
Yeah,
we
that's
also
true.
have the resource that made your troublemakers give you AT at the time?
Daring Do poster, yes.
It was in EO.
Yeah, like that even saw play
I don't know.
under the wall, but like
This
that
is
whole
where-
thing just kind of shriveled up and died, and then, well, the meta developed.
I mean, this is the era where Pirate Booty came from. This was the blue purple burb value. I don't know. I couldn't tell you where we got a rating that low for Daring Do outside of maybe what Ivory was saying, where the deck just didn't exist and we were blind to it. Certainly aren't now. If you were to ask me what two-color combination was probably capable of the most AT generation in Adventure, I would probably say purple-blue.
I think the next card is probably far more egregious in terms of how did we not see this.
I agree. Tell us
Oh,
of this next one.
oh no.
Yeah.
So this one, I distinctly remember this during playtesting. We're just like, who is ever gonna play this? This is just a garbage card. And then they slap Meticulous 2 on it.
Doesn't pass the Thunderlane test.
Yeah,
And
that was
then-
a
Until
lie.
it did.
And then it's like, oh, so
Meticulous 2 on this was so good.
And then, yes, this didn't just pass the Thunderlane test. This blew Thunderlane's feathers off and
Like, I
slammed
have
them
an
into the
old
ground.
money. It would be great if I had more bounce. Oh, hey, look, I can dig through like 3 cards a turn.
Oh, and you've still got Selena Blue here too, so it's just
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna dig like 3 or 4 cards
Oh.
deep.
don't forget this is the main you run with this is Ambassador of Friendship.
Yeah, it's like I put 2 cards I don't need on top, send them to the bottom next turn, draw a card, and then I get to search down 3 more every turn. I get 4 cards a turn.
This card was so dumb.
This card was a staple in 2 different control decks.
And get to blow your stuff up.
Yeah, and just unrestricted hard banish, just buy.
I am pretty certain you could not find a stat line now where you could print that second ability and have it be okay.
Okay,
I mean-
Or the sec- the sec-
999.
Because it just removes everything, right? It's
Right.
It's friend resource troublemaker. Like,
And on ETB, you don't care what the cost is. If you make the cost any more expensive than old
you're
money
just
is,
gonna reanimate it. Like,
right, exactly.
yeah, it would have to be when you play.
yeah. So we gave this a 3.9, and this is like, it took us a while to realize that this was a 6.
It stuck around for a while.
And it really shouldn't have. This card was just the worst. The old
I
money.
played this deck like basically the whole time this and Selena Blue were legal.
Why
So
would you
did I.
It was great. It was not great for the game. It was great for the player.
Yeah.
It was great for the not for the opponent. It was probably miserable for the opponent.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it was terrible.
The old money fights. Okay, I old money, you're old money. It's just.
I
ugh.
play another old money.
I believe we call that a corporate acquisition.
Yeah. All right, what else we got?
Dumb.
This next one is interesting for its inclusion as well as the
Oh.
ratings it got.
Yeah, this was a card. Okay, this thing averages out at 5 with 2 ratings that go above 5 into this is going to cause like serious meta disruption / ban territory. And Did these dorks even show up?
Yes.
I believe it's been used in a few combo decks, but only one of those decks was really considered like tier 0.
Which one was that?
The latest greatest one.
Latest greatest creation.
The one that Bugle used 2 years ago, I think.
I'm trying to remember latest greatest creation.
The sideboard one.
Oh, the sideboard one.
He just put all of his combo pieces in his sideboard and then waited. I mean, he didn't need EA Council to fire the combo, but it was basically okay, I have enough AT to do it, I'll just play this just to make sure.
Right. I think Cloney was the other one that ran it. They ran a couple copies for protection because they couldn't splash the blue for vote.
I don't actually think we let Cloney, once the Cloney list was like fully realized, I don't think we let it stick around long enough for the deck to see a play inside anything other than Coco.
There was a whole Continentals that went by where the option to run Cloney in its like peak state was there, but people didn't opt for it. But it was, you're right, it was banned shortly thereafter. And it's easy to see why we were still in an era where combo decks were viewed with an extreme amount of suspicion if they were allowed to stick around at all. They were convoluted, they required a bunch of different pieces, and if any one of your pieces got removed, you were likely hosed. And the fact that you had a tool that not only gave you protection, but also protected itself, right? If you play EEA, the rest of the turn is yours. There is nothing your opponent can do. But combo decks were expensive. And they took time.
Spending 4 for that is...
Yeah, right? Like, most of the game, you're going to be gaining 2 or 3 action tokens a turn, probably 3 if your opponent's, playing a mid-range deck that has enough disruption for you to be worried about it and needing to play EEA. That means that's 2 full extra turns that you need to be able to survive/delay the opponent from closing things out before you even have the AT to play this card in addition to everything else. Is the effect still good? Sure.
But
I never want to see this effect again.
it is, and I think part of the reason that we gave this goes back to the old rating system again, because in theory, if this shows up, this seriously changes the way that you can play a deck. Like, if you're relying on your immediates to get stuff done, no, you're not.
All right, I think we've got 1 or 2 more from FF here.
We have the most important one from FF up next, actually.
Don't you dare. It better not be.
How dare you rate this as 0? What is wrong with you?
Card is a 0.
Because it is a 0.
No, this card is clearly a 5.
I mean, the card...
Don't understand.
We did get unanimous zeros on this card, so I think this is just...
I think we're just right.
No. Clear. I think this should be a 5. There's a deck out here that's going to stomp the yard with this card. Alright, let's move on to LL.
Alright, there we go.
Alright, so now we get into the stuff that we're responsible for. And,
Are you following this up immediately with the other one too?
no.
Because I don't want to talk about that.
No, but that would have been funny.
Did we even give the replacement a rating?
We didn't. I don't know if we did. I don't
No,
think we did.
So...
The problem is it doesn't matter because the replacement got banned itself.
Yes.
And so it's more a question of did we give the replacement a rating? Because
The replacement can have a 2. Oh, Fluttershy, you got smacked with the Nerf bat so hard.
So I think
many times.
I think what's impressive about this one is in playtesting, we had seen a septuple confront, and we still only rated this an average of 3.75.
Yeah, it's like, it's a good card. It's fine, you know.
Turns out being able to just play a bunch of dilemmas for free to filter through your deck, kind of
It's just
broken.
1 AT, and like that's what it costs, like, to play a dilemma, or sometimes even 2.
Right? But it draws you a card. And then we went and printed, what is it, Stuck Together? That's a ways down the road, but
Yes, Stuck Together is ways down the road, but we went and printed Stunning Wonder after this got banned, thinking, okay, well, the problem was clearly these explosive turns where people were getting these, 5, 6, 7 confronts. That's not okay. But if we restrict it to once per turn, then it's fine. This was a lie. It was still bad, because all of a sudden the thing that aggro decks already wanted to do, which was DFO, became even more valuable. And if your opponent dared to have the gall to DFO in response,
You got a benefit.
that's not okay.
doesn't that sound like, back in the day when we effectively disincentivized doing problem face-offs because the first to confront
First
rule?
to confront rules, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit, maybe.
Yeah. Okay, but God, what did we give her? An average? 375. No, honey, you're better than that. You can do better than that.
She wrecked the meta that year, and then she continued to wreck things, only in a slightly different way.
We smacked her with a newspaper, and she gave us a sad face, and then we felt terrible, and then she went and did it again.
And then we smacked her with a crowbar, and now she's a 2.
Poor Fluttershy has brain damage now. Alright, but we've got more LL here too.
What did we rate this?
What was this one rated at?
This was rated relatively highly, if memory serves. Where are you hiding?
What was this one?
Oh wow, we gave this a 4.25?
So, Dashy here averages out at 4.25.
Oof.
I don't think she bothered showing up.
I really wish I remembered what deck we thought this was gonna wreck faces in.
Did we think there was going to be some type of hats thing? What was...
There has to be, because there's 5s in here. Like, someone clearly had a deck in mind.
I don't know what it was.
I mean, I think this was... You can just start stacking hats on her somehow. I don't remember what the gimmick was. And then you just sit there and you're like, no, you don't get to confront. No one's allowed to confront right now. Just, no.
It is a cool effect, Animoy, I agree, but it's... I do not remember what we would have done that would have put this thing above... For the record, right, a 4.25 is about the rating that we gave Princess Cadence Family Matters from Friends Forever. You know, the only tricorn that's been banned so far.
Kind of puts things into perspective, doesn't it?
I don't know what was going on here.
Yeah, I have zero memory of what made us think that this was gonna, but maybe someone else does. If you remember what we thought this was gonna go in, let us know.
Okay, how about a few more?
This next one we all knew.
Chemicals here. Oh, this doofus. Ugh, get out. I don't like his face on my screen. Let's talk about him so I can push the button and make his face go away.
Oh my god, I didn't even realize the flavor text.
Heh.
Yeah,
Okay,
because
but
he's banned.
oh, that's even worse. The replacement for him has I did myself proud on the flavor text for the replacement, but God, I hate it so much. What did we give
I
him?
have to go look it up. Featherbanks didn't get nearly high enough of a score. 3.3.
3 3/8.
I could have sworn that we knew what kind of deck this would go in. I think we just underestimated how good that deck was.
So I think this is going back to the old thing. Being able to go through your deck is kind of like valuable. It's just Lyra on a friend, kind of.
I can tell you, I can make the argument this is not our fault, but it became our fault. Because remember, this came out in Leaders and Legends. And the reason it got banned didn't come out until one set later, when Living to Laugh got printed. Up until that point, we were still working on the assumption that getting to see all the cards in my deck is good. It's okay. I would like that. That would be nice. Not getting to see all the cards in my deck is my plan. So I will forgive Featherbangs for some of his sins and place them squarely upon the flanks of Pinky. Because she did everything wrong. And we'll get to her, don't worry.
Oh no.
Did we even... I don't remember if we even used Featherbangs in the final Living to Laugh list. I think Pinky didn't need her. I don't remember.
Did she not? I thought she was being used. Yeah.
She.
Anyway. Featherbangs, sorry.
No. The Living to Laugh list that Bugle and I used did not use Featherbangs. Probably would have, though, if it wasn't banned by then.
Is there a current deck that's running Featherbanks?
The reformed version?
Yes, there's a current deck running the reformed version.
Yeah.
This next one, I remember
Okay. I'm
being a
I'm
discussion.
done looking at Featherbanks for now. Okay. How about this thing? What
Did we rate this high?
This got a
Yes, we
very
did.
good rating.
I remember talking this card up, and then I never used it.
We
It's
used
soft
it-
play.
We used it a little bit in Reanimator, but not as much as we thought.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, I never used this card ever. I was like,
'Cause-
yeah, I'm not using that.
Like average
The
of 4.5.
Oh yeah, because the opponent just doesn't play any cards unless they really need to.
Our argument was that spending 1 AT and a card to time walk the opponent was worth it.
But apparently it's not. Like,
I guess not, right? I think part of the issue is there were just other methods of recursion.
yeah.
Well, because you look at this in theory, this fits into a role that is still interesting and good. The problem is that it's not used for all of those things at the same time. So, like you said, pick a lane. Only one of the things that you're going to use this for, it's going to get used for. You can't use it for all three things where it is actually worth the card slot that it burns up.
Every now and then this card might still pop up. Mono white combo might run this alongside Wink for just like repeated crazy amounts of protection and things, but it does not deserve the rating that it had.
No.
Wasn't there something in white back in the day that wanted cheap white events? I mean, there was Sweetie Belle who would boost either her power by 2 from talented, or the other one, Field Twirler, who would exhaust to give one of your unicorns 1 power until end of turn for every event in your discard. I think you're thinking of the one that would just boost itself by 2. But we didn't see white aggro back then. Because Booming Business was the main in this set, and Capper was bad, and Rarity from Defenders was bad, and Friends Forever didn't have a white main, so it didn't exist.
I don't know. And white is historically not really like being the secondary color. So I don't know what we were on here.
White hasn't liked being the secondary color? I disagree. White has almost exclusively liked being the second. Oh, you're right, Prism Light. I'm sorry, Ocellus was in there, but Ocellus wasn't playing talented Sweetie Belle. I would argue that that white has only enjoyed being the secondary color and has struggled to be a primary.
Mm.
The one exception being Weenie Belle's big sister, and then Yonabar once they got printed.
Yeah. It's probably fair. I just think that this you have to look at this and just be like, can I justify this in a card slot? And it's like, not unless I'm running a combo and only need a one of.
Yeah, probably not, right?
So, I don't know what we were on, but I'm not going to finish that sentence. Do we have anything else? I think we got one more from here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
2 more from LL, I think.
What did we give this one?
I think this was one of the ones that got rated
4.75.
4.5s. I mean, that's
Someone gave it a 7? Wait, what?
4.75.
Okay, I was like, wait, what?
No, this just got universally high ratings.
It's not. Go ahead.
I don't remember if this was a color combo that showed up at the time.
I think it was because Reanimator was a really big deck at this point.
Was that it? Is it just?
Yeah.
I mean that's why I would rate it probably a 3 or a 4 now. Would
Was
just be because
Cadence?
it's Reanimator.
Yeah, that's
Cadence
probably
was
it.
still. Yeah, Cadence was still legal.
And she
when
was
we rated
yellow,
this.
right?
She was not yellow, but she was pink and white.
Yeah,
Pink, white, blue.
Yeah. I mean, you got enough of it, and then I guess that's probably what it was. We were looking at it and just being like, so you can pull a friend back from your Discord, or you can just slam it into play. And then there's some other text on there that doesn't matter. Like, that's got to be it. It's just we had to be looking at this.
Put a friend from your Discord pile on the play. Like, that's pretty big. It's just those colors.
Yeah. I assume that's what we were doing there. We just looked at the reanimation potential and we're like, yeah, more reanimation tools. What do you mean you can't play it? Like, skill issue?
Skill issue.
I don't get.
Speaking of skill issue, that's what Twy would say to Shining every time. Skill issue.
Did this ever see play?
I think this saw experimental play. I don't think this showed up in any serious venue.
Yeah, this thing got 4s across the board.
Would you play this if it cost 1? I still don't know.
No, I don't think I would.
I think you argue that this is too much of a liability.
Unless you're one of those decks that just like their whole goal is to win every face-off, which I don't know if we even have one of them right now. Like troublemaker decks, maybe, but if you're facing another troublemaker deck, then
I mean, maybe we thought that's what that was that this was supposed to go in a troublemaker control deck, but by this point in time, players weren't challenging troublemakers unless they had numerous tricks to throw at it to make sure they could break through. Otherwise, they'd just play a dilemma or replace the problem.
Yeah, just go around or something. What were we thinking here? Because this is not a good ROI either. And it's got really bad downsides, and you can only use it once a turn. Why? Why did we rate this good? This is like a... This is like a 2 at most.
We must have
Yeah.
seen the score a point and
Just
thought,
been like,
oh,
there-
winning
says
face-offs
score
is
a point.
easy.
yeah, there was a deck that ran this.
I don't remember what it was.
It had to be farm or something.
Yeah, I think there was farm deck that was running it.
But
It can't have been
even
Blue Farm. It can't have been Blue Farm though, because Daybreaker still existed.
I mean, it had to have. I know that. I'm pretty sure I remember myself, anyway, thinking of this being in a farm deck, but I don't know.
I remember
if this
taking
would...
it from the opponent, so clearly it didn't do its job.
No, it did not. I have no idea.
Yeah, I got nothing.
It's such a neat idea, except it's just bad. Alright.
I mean, that's the case with a lot of the leader stuff. It was the first custom set that we had done. We were still learning. We were trying to reduce the power level, and with a few exceptions, we did too far.
Well, so I think we did a very good imitation of Canterlot Knights. There were a lot of cards that were like, okay, this is here. Like, maybe it's not going to be very useful, but it's here and it's fine and limited or whatever. And then there's a handful of just absolute ringers. So, hooray. The cycle continues. I think this is the last of the leaders. Let's talk about New Dawn.
Okay.
Why did I let you argue me up to a 4.5 on this?
I don't know.
I feel
I
like
don't
I gave this a relatively poor rating for some reason.
Why did Bugle and I give this a 5?
I don't
Enters
know what
play
we were
effects.
I don't know what we were searching for.
It had to have been Living to Laugh. That's the only. I'm pretty sure that. But
Well, it could have been the other Pinky as well, but like what 5-power friend was coming into play first? I don't remember.
Was this that giant derpy maybe?
I mean, Giant Derby was one of the options.
Like I specifically remember discussing giant derpy in the context of this card, and I'm still sitting here just being like, okay, but why?
I think maybe we were talking about like Discord's second opinion into Giant Derpy or something. Or into Pinky Tricorn.
Maybe I think what happened here is we saw the search effect and we were just like, remember that card? It was purple. It dug up events. I remember
That was
that
a
card.
good card.
You know, I distinctly remember someone running this card so free. Who was it? Who was the player that started playing really seriously around this time on Discord? And
was it Roman?
yes, it was Roman. Roman was using this card frequently, and she was basically relying on Mrs. Cake as her only method of entry. She
That
played
sounds very dangerous.
she played Student 6 and Mrs. Cake, and then would put something big into play, and then use Mrs. Cake to find it. So she was doing it as a value play. And it was fun when it worked, but that was like 10% of the time. Yeah, I mean, I can see the argument for it. I can pay 2AT, retire an ETB friend that I have at home, and find any other ETB friend with cost equal or less than and get value out of it, effectively turning my deck into my hand. But that's not how that works. It doesn't work that way in practice.
I wish it worked that way.
Yeah, me too. A few more?
One more.
Okay.
So, ostensibly, the teacher is supposed to take attendance. Now, the problem is that doesn't work if the teacher doesn't attend class herself.
Are you implying that Trixie, for whatever reason, would be skipping class?
No,
This card's all play.
I'm not implying it, I'm outright
Did
saying
it?
it.
Yeah, it's all a little bit of play.
Where?
In an attempt at Burb.
How did it do?
Considering none of us remember
Burb.
it, probably not great.
Yeah. I think the resource saw more play.
I remember the resource and Happy Trees. I don't remember this.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think it costs 3, which is too much. But
Because this isn't exactly a portal, and like we've effectively printed something like this more recently, but it's just like that just costs too much, I think. And it's
there's no
Admitted-
limit on which friend.
admittedly
But-
it is in like burb colors, but still, like this just didn't see much play. And we rated it very highly, like 4 and an 1/8.
Yeah. I think there's just better ways to burb.
Yeah, and the card's biggest weakness, which is the fact that it only functioned on being played
Yeah.
rather than entering play, is one that you truly cannot remove for any reason, or else the card just creates infinite ETBs with itself if you've got another copy somewhere.
I mean, sure, but all that does is, oh no, you can do bad things with that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but that's fine, because you to some degree you have to look at this card and just say, okay, this is a 3-cost portal that also happens to make a 2-power body.
On the surface, that seems good.
But it doesn't get you to move. It doesn't actually do the portal thing to remove problematic status effects or counters or whatever. It just have it to go away.
All right, rapid fire mode here at the end as we go through fond memories and then a couple of the prize wheels.
Okay, into fun memories.
What did we rate this?
Pretty high.
I probably rated this high because I really like shuffling my discard pile into my deck.
We rated this 4.75. Okay, that's too high.
It's a bit high.
Yeah, like
This has seen play.
yeah, this does see play,
I
but
think it's a 3.
this is not something that you just expect to have come out of the woodwork. It's a thing that you run as a one-of, as a silver bullet. It's not a... It doesn't wreck the meta like we thought it would.
We were hoping.
We were
Like-
hoping it could do some stuff with either Shock Troops or with Cadence. And it's all play in both of those decks. but it was not the reason those decks either worked or didn't work.
Yeah, we had
Still,
a.
go ahead.
I was gonna say we had a lot of highly rated cards here in Fond Memories that didn't actually end up doing anything.
Like I think we've gotten better about this, where if we rate a card low, we're generally correct about it, but sometimes we get way over optimistic about stuff. And it doesn't.
You say that, but then we have other cards that we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yes. So yeah, just she showed up, but she just didn't make a big enough splash. So, the drop wasn't that
It's
great.
a good card. It's just not dumb.
Yeah, the playlist was on shuffle. It got into the oldies. No one likes that.
And cards need to be done.
I completely forgot this card even existed till I was looking through the old Slogfest spreadsheets. I'm like, what in the world is this card?
4.75.
Oof.
Because you were gonna like the villain frighten everybody.
Yeah.
I think the problem with this is that we weren't paying attention to the colors it's in. Because
I think pink purple used to be a lot stronger than it is now, and so anything that was like decently good in pink purple was like, okay, this is a 5.
I don't know what we were on about here, because like pink purple does not like this effect. You're gonna blow half of your stuff up if you villain bomb with it. So good job.
Yeah, since pink purple is often confronting behind its own troublemakers,
Yeah, I don't know what we were thinking here. This
maybe we thought it was worth it.
maybe. Oh, it seems like this is something where I'd almost, like in retrospect, I'd almost wonder if this goes below a 2. This seems actively harmful in the decks that it was maybe intended to go in. Maybe there was something else that we were thinking.
I will say, I love the art and flavor text even to this day. Top kick.
Uh,
All right.
I forget
Few
what I
more.
did. I'm sure I did something stupid. I kind of want to go look it up now. Ah, yes. This card.
We thought it would be really good. It ended up being okay.
It wasn't bad
Yeah,
until
but
it was.
okay. It was okay. And then it was like, why would you run this?
Tricolor used to be a bigger thing, and
Animator was
now
still a
it's
big
done
thing.
differently now.
There were decks that used this immediately after Fond Memories came out. I don't think any decks use it now.
The
Yeah.
issue is it doesn't it doesn't help you flip.
Well, no, because I remember the logic on this when it was trading tradition. If trading traditions is good, this is also good. The problem with that, of course, is that the thing with trading traditions is you start with it. You don't have to go dig it up.
It's 50% better than trading traditions because it gives you 2 colors.
But it also takes away a power, so your main's useless unless it's flipped.
Until it flips, yeah.
So
Unless you're running Grogar.
yeah, what were we on about here? This is not a particularly good card. Like, why would you run this?
Probably were thinking about. Was Grogar was he in the set? Or was that the
Grogar wasn't
next-
in the set, but
Previous.
he was used. He was being used by this point.
Or it was already out. Okay.
There
Yeah.
was a deck. GP, you had a deck that used this. I'm pretty sure.
Bloodstone?
Yeah.
Didn't you?
I mean, Reanimator was using this so that you could actually sit there and play some of your tricorns, right? Because all the tricorns at that point still had 2 rec. And
Was it really just Reanimator? I could have sworn there was something you built that ran this.
yes, I believe Chaos Control also ran this because it got you into Featherbangs. Or not Featherbangs, Tender taps.
Yes, I do remember now the Tender Taps Chaos Control deck.
I am pretty sure it was. That would have been Everfree 2022. Let me take a look here. Everfree 2022 results. Cheese won with that same list. But by that point, that list wasn't even running Bloodstone Scepter. So I got nothing.
Maybe it ran it at one point?
Maybe? Stunning
Maybe
One and
it
Blue
was.
wouldn't have run it.
Maybe it did just end up being a Reanimator card.
There was the Alec list. Was Carrie running? No, he wasn't running that. I'm looking at that same meta, seeing what was there. Lovebird, Cadence Blue. Bugle, Alicorns as well. What was this?
I don't.
Orange, white. I ran an orange, white, purple.
What?
I wasn't. I don't know. I got nothing.
What did we rate this thing? Where are you hiding?
5s across the board.
Ugh. How? Gross.
I don't know.
Didn't know what we were thinking.
Yeah, this is no. We screwed this one up. This is bad. Like
I think I vaguely even recall this discussion, and I'm pretty sure it was all around tricolor decks.
like,
And maybe because of the pay to flips mains, we were like, it doesn't matter about the mainest one.
the search thing still. I don't know. This gets like a 1.5 now. Meh.
So I think we only have one each
So,
of the
now-
next 3 sets.
Now we get into
You mean we were a lot better,
prize
or we
wheel.
just haven't had time to be wrong?
I think we've gotten a little bit better at making our ratings.
Little A,
over
little
time.
B. All right, prize wheel stuff.
For what it's worth, we know we've glossed over a large number of cards that were sitting at, what should have been 6s because things have been banned. Many of those cards still received exceptionally high ratings, and we were just a little. We undershot a little bit, so we're ignoring most of those.
Right.
This one I'll argue.
I
the
enjoy
same
this
thing
one.
that RS said for main 6 back when we were discussing earlier. This was always going to be either not used at all or was going to be stupid. It turns out it was stupid.
Did we ban this?
Oh yeah.
We banned this.
Okay.
This was
I
a
had forgotten
combo
about that.
card.
Yeah, I know.
This was a dumb card. And we gave this a 3.
I think you're right. I think we were literally splitting the difference.
We all just went down the I don't know what this is gonna do, but it's either gonna languish in obscurity or die a
Rarity
villain.
is so angry.
I think you're right.
You know what? Alright. I'm down with that. I think our ratings kind of reflect that.
Well, look, right? The last time that we had a card that you had to exhaust and spend some other part of your resource to be able to search for something, we gave it a 5 or gave it really, really high ratings, and it was terrible, and that was Mrs. Cake. This one, you still have to exhaust at main phase timing. You still have to discard a card. Now you're only searching your sideboard. You can't even search your entire deck, so you're limited to a maximum of 5 cards, and it doesn't even go into play. It goes right to your hand. This is clearly so much worse than Mrs. Cake /S.
Except it totally wasn't.
Except it was not.
Whoops.
Turns out if your combo only needs 5 cards, you just found a card that finds all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For more information on this topic, please go look at Elite Tauren Chieftain from Hearthstone.
flawless. Yeah. I will fully admit that I was the harshest on this card, and I was obviously the most wrong. But I still stand by that it was always going to either be broken or useless.
You're right. It was useless until it was broken.
Okay. This, I think that the ban justification for this one tells most of the story here. What did we give this dork? Yeah, another 3.
This was 3s.
Yeah, threes across the board. And we probably even made the joke when we were looking at this going, why not 4s across the board? It's clearly, like, very 4-pilled, right?
Oh yeah, we definitely did.
And we're just like, I don't know, I guess it's too difficult to hit the requirements for this. So,
and then Pink
math?
and then Pink came in there and was like, "Hold my cupcake."
Yes. And did this, and then was just like, hey, I just found another dodgy shopkeeper. Let me crack this one. Oh, look, I found the third one. Let me crack that one too.
Yeah, I think that's the bit that we forgot here. Are the barriers to getting the first one to work, challenging? Yeah, they are. Doing this all within a single turn, unless your deck is specifically built around it, is going to be very hard. What we forgot is that you only have to meet that condition once.
And then you could play 3 of them and pop 3 of them.
Right.
And popping one draws you cards, which increases the odds of you finding one.
It also gives you AT to play some of those cards in the event that those cards draw you more cards, which could draw you into this.
That sounds like a positive feedback loop.
Yeah, it kind of was. I will say, just be glad this thing got banned before Continentals this year, or it would have been a very, very boring meta.
It was this and Patch, right? That had to get emergency banned.
Yep.
I'm fine with the patch ban, though. I like Comet better.
Comet's a good doofus.
He's a good doofus.
Yeah, but then I had to actually think in the deck that I was playing, and Patch made it so that I didn't have to think.
Whine, moan, complain. Let's see. I think we've got 1 or 2 more.
I think it's exactly 1 more.
What did we rate this one?
What did we rate? I thought this was going to be the main.
No.
What did we rate this one?
No, this is,
I thought this was the pink one.
Did I get these wrong? I might have loaded the wrong image in here.
Well, no, you wrote Unicycling Delivered in the script. So you've got the right card. What did we rate it? Did we not rate it highly?
We rated it 4s and 5.
4.25.
I mean, that sounds right. It was in Pip and it was in Chrissy.
Let's scroll down to the other Izzy. We might have intended to do the other Izzy.
I may have messed this one up. Oops, not that button.
What was the other Izzy?
All according to plan.
No, I think I just messed this one up. That one's my bad. I didn't recall this thing actually showing up, and it got very high ratings.
I'm pretty sure it was in both of the top 2 Continentals decks, but let me confirm that.
Well, while we're thinking about Izzy, do we think that the Izzy main still deserves the 4s and 5s it got in our Slogfest?
Yeah, I think so. I think that Izzy, I mean, maybe not 5s, but the 4s are still really good.
I I think the Izzy main might actually be closer to a 3, like the other mains.
You think so?
I think Pip probably should have been the 5. Well-
Pip continues to surprise me.
Yeah, Pip is actually kind of an amazing main.
Well, yeah, she's small. She can sneak up on you really easily.
I can't stand these stealth builds. They get me every time.
Right? For what it's worth, yes, there were 2 copies of that Izzy in both the first and second place lists from Continentals this year.
I
Which
actually
is
think
which is about the maximum you're ever going to run.
so. Maybe does it truly change how good those decks are? Maybe not, but they definitely help.
Yes, absolutely.
I guess I should probably word that differently. That sentence is self-fulfilling.
Hard word. Wording is hard.
You know what I mean.
You know what?
The strategy still works if you take them out.
I will go ahead and make the argument that I think the Pink Izzy is better than we gave her credit for, and we had her pretty middle of the road for sideboard utility only. And I think that in Adventure, that is probably correct. And in fact, you can look to the Invitationals list this year, as there are a few people who have just included at least 1 copy of Izzy in both of their Invitationals lists, solely for the purpose of dealing with Mill, or at least slowing it down.
Of Pizzy?
Right. But Shining Armor is also running 2 copies of Izzy right now, and those are not sideboard cards.
Oh no. You absolutely want those, otherwise you're gonna run out of gas really quickly.
So, hey, even just 1 supplement away, you never know what can change.
And there was nothing wrong with our prize wheel 4 ratings. We've clearly learned from our mistakes. It'll never happen again.
Yep, it'll be perfect.
Now, those are all it's way too soon to call, I think.
No, we just know better now. We've learned from our mistakes. It'll never happen again.
See,
We are now always correct.
I might actually bring Shining Armor up even higher. I might put Shining Armor into 5. That card is really, really good. I think I also was sleeping on Cheese. Cheese has got some teeth.
The main?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
We only gave him 3.5, 3 across the board. Bugle gave him the highest score at a 4. And I think we were kind of sleeping on Cheese Farm. It's really good.
We actually had a pretty crazy showing of Cheese Farm yesterday in the invitational game that aired.
Yeah, Cheese Farm and Station Hotline, man.
That was gross.
There's some stuff in Prize Wheel 4 that I think if we do this again in a couple of years, we're going to come back and just be like, man, we overrated those things real hard.
You think so?
I think so. Terrible twos, and possibly Poison Joke are the ones that stand out to me, but we'll see what happens.
Clearly, the boneless token should be a 7.
Yeah, no, but just ban that thing right now. Just get it out of my sight.
I think that, so prediction here, I think Poison Joke is going to actually, what was our rating across the board on that one?
3 and
there
a
were
quarter.
3s and 3.5s. Bugle gave it a 4.
I think it's probably closer to a 4 than it is to a 3, and I think you're going to see that happen more often as long as Shining is in the meta. I think it is one of the best answers that exists to Shining right now, and is going to make a pretty sizable impact. We'll have to see.
Okay, maybe.
We'll see.
I think the argument for 2s is that, doesn't that cost 3?
It costs 3.
I think that's going to undo it for about the same reasons as that Trixie saw nothing.
You gotta convince Bugle of that one.
I mean, Bugle's got a better way to convince me of that, which is he can just build it and run it, and then he doesn't have to convince me. He's convinced the world.
True. That's true. We will see. Well, I know that was a long one, but I think at least where the cards currently stand, that'll wrap up our discussion on this topic for today. Come to BabsCon in a couple of weeks. We'll have more news for you on that.
Oh my, this is
Only a couple weeks. What's happening?
yeah, I know.
Isn't it in a month?
It's a couple
It's
weeks.
about a month, yeah. No,
It's
this is
a big one.
continuing to get more and more insane with their music lineup.
Does that mean that our next stream is our What Are We Running stream?
No, that'll be 2 streams from now.
Okay.
give or take, yeah. Their music lineup is getting insane. I don't know if we're gonna have anyone to play CCG stuff because everyone's gonna be at the concert. Because they're gonna have to run the concert for like 48 hours straight. It's going to be madness. This is gonna be wild. Show up for it.
Yep.
The CCG schedule is aware.
Yes, we are. Anyway, we would like to give a big shout out to all our patrons on Patreon. Thank you so much for your regular support. If you aren't currently a patron and you enjoy what we do, please consider donating. Doing so enables us to continue making content like this and lets you earn some great perks as a bonus. If you have comments or questions you'd like to send our way, feel free to reach out to us through Facebook, Blue Sky, or email. Yes, we do have a Bisky. If you're a patron, you can also chat live with us on Slack any day, anytime.
Stole my word.
Bisky.
My word.
Bisky.
No one knows what that is. Say Blue Sky
it's a-
for the people.
It's
Bisky.
Bisky.
We're
Finally, if
trying
you're
to
looking...
get people to go to the Blue Sky. They need to know what it is.
Yes. I said Blue Sky. Then I said Bisky.
Oh, I need to fix the thing so that we have that listed too.
Yes, you do. Finally, if you're looking to watch any of our previous videos, including tournament recordings, you can find them on our YouTube channel, linked just below the stream. With all that said, thank you to each and every one of our viewers, both here now and watching this recording later. We are, as always, Commentary is Magic. I am not stealing their bit this time.
Big
Or
cheese.
am I?
This is my bit. Arcat, and
I'm Count Sidolphus Orlando, the Thunder God.
my name is Inigo Montoya. You have killed my father. Prepare to die.
See you at BabsCon. Bye!
Bye.
Bye.